The Arctic is not a place made for human beings. It is a place carved by silence, ruled by ice, and governed by forces we barely understand. Yet throughout history, people have entered this frozen world with ships, hopes, and dreams, believing they could tame it only to learn that the Arctic does not negotiate. It takes what it wants. It buries what it chooses. And sometimes, it lets something go. Something that should have died, but didn't. Something that should have vanished, but returned. Something like the Baychimo. If you're drawn to mysteries buried beneath snow and time, stay with me. This is not just a tale of a ship. It is the story of a ghost that haunted the Arctic for nearly 4 decades. Drifting without a crew, without direction, and without explanation. Before you decide whether you believe what happened, listen carefully. Some stories are only unbelievable because they're true. Our journey begins not with the ship itself, but with the place that would come to own it, the vast, merciless Arctic seas. For centuries, these waters have swallowed entire expeditions. Ships stronger than steel vanished here, leaving behind legends that echo through snowstorms. Explorers from Britain, Norway, Russia, and Canada tried to map this region, only to be lost in the blinding white. The Franklin expedition, the Karlach, the Terror, the Genital perished. Their remains are scattered across the ice, frozen in time. But the Baychimo was different. It did not sink, it did not decay. It refused to stop moving, and this defiance is what turned it into one of the Arctic's most enduring mysteries. The Baychimo was built in Sweden in 1914, originally named Ank. It was a sturdy steel cargo vessel, nearly 70 meters long, designed to carry heavy loads through northern waters. Eventually it was purchased by the Hudson's Bay Company, which used it to transport goods and furs along Canada's remote northwest coast. For years, the ship made difficult journeys between trading posts, navigating waters filled with shifting ice and unpredictable storms. Crew members respected the Baychimo. It wasn't luxurious, but it was strong, reliable, the kind of ship you trusted with your life. But steel means little compared to the will of the Arctic. In October 9, the Baychimo sailed into its final mission with a seasoned crew led by Captain John Cornwell. Their route took them past Point Barrow, Alaska, the northernmost place in the United States. As they traveled, the weather changed suddenly, dramatically, as if the Arctic had made a decision that the Baychimo's journey was over. Sharp winds cut across the deck, temperatures plunged, and then, the ice came. Pack ice formed rapidly around the hull, tightening like a metal fist. The crew attempted to break free, but the ice seized the ship faster than they could fight it. Soon the Baychimo was locked in place, unable to move, trapped in a frozen prison. The crew set up camp beside the vessel, building makeshift shelters on the ice itself. They believed the freeze would pass soon. Ships had been trapped before and survived, but this storm was different. It was relentless. It was as if the Arctic wasn't just trapping the Baychimo, but claiming it. For several days, the ship remained stuck. The ice moaned and shifted, pushing against the hull with deep, thunderous cracks. Men lay awake at night, listening to the groaning metal, wondering whether the ship would be crushed. Their breath turned to frost in the air. Their faces burned from the cold. When a break in the weather came, the crew approached the ship only to discover something impossible. The Baychimo was gone. The men stared at the open sea where the ship had been. They searched the horizon in every direction, their hearts sinking. A 1,300-ton steel vessel does not simply vanish. And yet, it had. Hours passed in disbelief. Some men whispered that maybe the ice had swallowed it whole. Others believed it had broken free and drifted into the fog. But the sense that something was wrong, that something unnatural had happened, hung heavily over them. 2 days later, as if mocking their confusion, the Baychimo was spotted again. It drifted peacefully through a narrow channel of open water, gently rocking as though nothing strange had occurred. The crew managed to board it, retrieve valuable cargo, and record its position. But the hull had been weakened. The ship had suffered. The officers believed it wouldn't survive another winter, so they made a choice that would give birth to one of the Arctic's greatest legends. They abandoned the Baychimo. They took only what they needed and left the ship to die in the ice. But the Baychimo didn't die. This was the beginning of its second life, the life of a ghost ship. The first strange sighting came only weeks after the crew left. Inuit hunters reported seeing the ship drifting far from where it had last been recorded. No one was aboard, no lights, no movement, just a silent steel figure gliding across the Arctic. Night. Then came 1931. A trapper named Charlie Wilcox found the Baychimo stuck in the ice. He boarded it, exploring its empty rooms and dark hallways. The ship was freezing cold inside, every surface coated in frost. Wilcox described it later as a ship listening for footsteps. He spent the night in one of the cabins, hoping to salvage something in the morning. But that night, he woke to the sound of splitting ice. The Baychimo jerked violently, breaking free from the frozen grip. Wilcox barely escaped before the ship drifted away into the dark, leaving him stranded on the ice. From this point forward, the Baychimo became a phantom appearing unexpectedly, disappearing without warning, always at the mercy of the Arctic, but somehow surviving everything thrown at it. Throughout the 1930s, sightings continued. Inuit families saw it drifting near the coast, explorers encountered it floating through fog. A group of sailors claim they attempted to board it but were forced away by sudden, violent weather, almost as if the ship didn't want visitors. Each story described the same image: a lonely vessel, its hull coated in frost, its decks tilted slightly, its windows hollow like empty eyes. Some said they felt watched. Others said they heard sounds inside, creaks, footsteps, whispers carried by the wind. These accounts deepened the Baychimo's legend, a ship with no crew, yet never truly silent. By 1939, the Baychimo had traveled hundreds of miles, moving in ways no drift pattern could easily explain. Wind alone couldn't account for its route. Currents couldn't guide it through frozen plains. The Arctic was carrying it like a vessel with a purpose, or perhaps like a relic. It refused to bury. In the early 1940s, more sightings were reported. A fishing vessel encountered the Baychimo drifting near the Bering Strait. The crew attempted to tow it, but the rope snapped during a sudden snow squall. Within minutes, the ship vanished again, into the white void. Here, if you're captivated by mysteries that ripple through time and ice, stay close. This is exactly why we explore stories like this, to uncover pieces of history that refuse to stay silent. The Baychimo continued wandering, showing signs of decay but never collapsing. In 1954, a crew encountered it with its decks warped and its railings bent. Yet the hull still floated, still endured, still defied the sea. Then 1962 brought one of the most dramatic encounters. A team of Arctic scientists saw the Baychimo surrounded by broken ice. They attempted to reach it, planning to salvage the ship once and for all. But the ice shifted violently, closing around them. By the time it opened again, the Baychimo had vanished. Sightings had become rare by the late 1960s, but the legend persisted. Then, in 1969, Inuit hunters saw the ship stuck in ice near Point Barrow. This was the last confirmed sighting. The Baychimo was leaning heavily to one side, its hull battered, its life apparently near its end. After that, nothing. No debris, no wreckage, no trace. A steel ship of immense size simply disappeared from the face of the earth. To this day, no one knows what happened. Did it finally sink beneath the ice? Did it drift into deeper waters and break apart? Or is it still out there somewhere, moving through a region so remote that no human eyes have seen it in decades? But as with all mysteries, theories emerge, some scientific, some strange, some deeply unsettling. One theory suggests that shifting ice could have preserved the ship and carried it far into the Arctic basin, where it now rests intact on the seafloor, perfectly preserved in freezing darkness. Another proposes that air pockets trapped in the hull allowed it to float for far longer than typical steel vessels, giving it an unnatural lifespan. And then, there is the theory that people whisper about quietly, the belief that the ship survived because it wasn't entirely alone, that the Arctic itself, with its strange magnetic fields and unexplored forces, carried the ship deliberately, protecting it, moving it, hiding it. When a ship defies nature for 38 years without a crew, people begin to wonder. The Baychimo has since become a legend, one that sailors still talk about when they travel north. A ship that refused death, refused stillness, refused silence. A ship that wandered the Arctic like a restless spirit. Today, some believe the ship may yet be found resting somewhere beneath drifting ice fields, locked in a tomb of snow, waiting for the world to rediscover it. Others think the ocean swallowed it long ago, the Arctic finally taking back what it once spared. But there are rare reports and unexplained distant ship-like shadows seen through fog near old drift routes, dark silhouettes on the horizon, ghostly outlines that disappear when approached. Most dismiss these stories. Others remember the Baychimo and wonder, if you're still here, listening closely to the whispers of a ship lost in time, you are the reason why Lost Expeditions exists. Stories like these stories, buried in ice and forgotten by the world, deserve to be told. And if you want to continue exploring the mysteries of the Arctic, the Antarctic, and every frozen frontier, stay with us. Before we end this journey, imagine this. You stand on the edge of a frozen shore. The sky is violet with dusk. The wind is soft but cold enough to sting your skin. And through the fog, drifting slowly across the ice, you see it? A dark shape, tall, silent, a ship moving against the wind, untouched by time. Would you approach it, or would you turn away? Some legends are not meant to be solved. Some are meant to be followed. This is Lost Expeditions, and our search for the forgotten has only just begun.